Oh yeah, that's a Negroni, but it's not any Negroni. It's the BLCL Negroni No. 2. See you in a minute. Hey gang, Will back again with another episode of Mixes and Mashes from Blue Label Cigar Lounge. This time, the Negroni No. 2. So, a quick little oversight of why we call it a No. 2. In the cigar industry, there is a vitola called a No. 2. It's a very specific size, and with keeping with tradition and being inside of a cigar lounge, we thought that it would be apropos to just twist it a little bit. So most of the No. 2s I've come up with by just tweaking the ingredients a little bit, taking a little bit more to the craft cocktail side. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. Without further ado, let's go over a little bit about a Negroni. So it's one of the oldest cocktail recipes around, and it sure is one of the easiest to make, and I am not sure why it's so easy to screw up. How many times have you gone out and spent an exorbitant amount of money, and you're sitting there and your Negroni comes and it's pink? It's not a Negroni. Was it made with Aperol? I don't know. Take one sniff, there's something wrong with it. It's pretty simple. Traditionally, it's Campari, Sweet Vermouth, and gin, 1, 1, and 1. Now, I never used to like a Negroni until Anthony Bourdain basically just kind of put it on its ass one afternoon and said, hey, you need it to be a little more boozy. It's too sweet. I agree. There's been some other people along the way that have said that same thing, but I just remember him messing it up in the back of a sound stage, and it was like, oh, now I like it. And it's a very simple mix. It's a very simple fix. So typically, you're talking about Campari, an Italian liqueur, so noticeably red that most people just kind of dismiss it right away. It's extremely bitter. In the old days, it was said that they got the red from a certain beetle, and they would just take and crush up the beetle, dry it, crush it up, and that's where they would get their red from. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I heard. So, at any rate, so you've got Campari, and then you've got a Sweet Vermouth. This Sweet Vermouth, typically in most of the cocktail recipes, is going to be an Antica Formula or Formula. Very nice, very expensive. I like it for a lot of other cocktails. I'm not sure it's my favorite for this, and we'll get over that here in a little bit. But extremely nice, and a London dry gin. We want a dry gin. We don't really want to be putting any botanicals in just yet. But if you take and just smell, you get lots of lemon, lots of lime, citrus, that generic lemon lime citrus. And it's not too heavy on the rubbing alcohol smell, where some gins can be a little overpowering. Still got some very nice citrus notes to it. So that's a traditional Negroni, how I've seen most how cocktails are made. Let's get this off to the side here. Just two ingredients that I really enjoy switching out. Now, one is the Select. The Select from Venezia is very much like a Campari. It's bitter. It is a little thicker, as you can kind of see. It is, again, an Italian Apertif, very bitter. It is a little bit more red in color. You can kind of see it's a little more syrupy almost. This is kind of what we're going for. We want a really nice, deep red Negroni. All right, we're going to be hiding a little some other things in there, and we want to make sure that the taste is a little off. It's not exactly very bitter. So I'd say the bitter on this is probably 2/3 of the Campari. So that's kind of nice. The only downside to this is that it is only 17%, 17.5% alcohol versus Campari at, I can't remember any of this, 24%. So a little less alcohol content in this version, but that's okay. We'll make up for it by double boozing on the other side. And then we've got this for Sweet Vermouth. This is very interesting. This is Carpano. It's widely available, not too crazy. So this guy here on the nose comes across very fortified wine, and of course it's what it is, a Sweet Vermouth is, but it's almost coming across like a little bit more of a brandy. Very interesting, very nice. It's a nice departure. So we've paired these two together. I've paired those two together. And again, we're going to use some London dry gin, just some Beefeater. So here's where everything kind of takes a detour. So where I start off with is shaker full of ice. An orange, we're looking for the peel here, and we'll only be using the peel. Be very careful. I've got a peeler here, but it doesn't go too deep. It's very flat. It's almost like a cheese shaver, if you will. I'm sure this is pretty common, but what we're going to be doing is we're just trying to be taking the surface of this orange off. I like to add a little bit of orange to this because, of course, served with an orange wedge or orange wheel, we can fortify this a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is, because we're only making one cocktail, I'm going to take one slice, and you can see we don't have any of the rind. That's important because we don't want any of that bitterness. If that bitterness gets introduced into the cocktail, we'll have to chase it. This is something I picked up from a bartender in Moscow some years back, and I'm sure, well, this was quite some time ago. Yeah, we don't really want to go into the backstory of that, do we? It was a pretty wild night. At any rate, what we can do is simply put that in our shaker. We're going to add in 1 ounce of our London dry gin. Maybe, right, we'll just put in 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, something just very simple. Now we've got that orange at the bottom. I'm going to take it. We haven't put in oh no! Got it. Don't worry. So what we've done is we've just used a little bit of that gin just to act as oh wow. I wish you could smell this. This is amazing. It's a really cool trick. This bartender was infusing vodka just with citrus rind and shaking it over ice and then straining it out. Finish this off. We're going to use 2 ounces. So call it 60 ml of dry gin. So a little bit of departure. So slide that guy over to the side here. Now we're going to do a scant 30 ml. This is going to be to taste. So I enjoy about just shy of 30 mils of sweet vermouth. There we go. And we've already diluted the gin, so all we're doing is we're just combining. That's all. So let's leave that off to the side. Let's grab our strainer. And in always good fashion, I have forgotten the ice cube. I'll be right back. Okay. So let's grab a large ice cube. Our strainer. Quite a bit of cocktail on this mix, which is nice. At this point, I would normally add a little bit of bitters. I know what you're saying, not on a Negroni. Trust me, this is going to change it. Just that little bit. So I've got Fee's orange bitters with 2 dashes on the nose and 1 of the Fee's regular bitters. That's it. That's all you need. We're going to finish this with an orange wheel. Our cocktail taking up the majority of that room on the other side. There we go. That is our Negroni number 2. Lots of that orange oil. Oh, that is so good. Bitter. Sweet goes right back to bitter. It's not hiding the gin. The gin is very forward in this. There's a little bit of something hiding in the background. You can't really put your finger on. But I have to tell you, to pair with a nice medium full cigar, maybe a Maduro, excellent. Just such a wonderful cocktail. Nice, light. It is a little high in sugar. Be careful. But you can definitely work just 1 dash of bitters into there and it changes the entire cocktail. That's our BLCL Negroni number 2. Let's take a departure again. Oh, that is so good. Okay, gang. So we handled the number 2. That's our take. It's a little bit different here in the lounge. we're going to show you another one. So instead of using just the orange and just the orange peel, we're going to make the same thing, but this time we're going to be using a smoky mezcal. Now, I like El Silencio. It's a very nice mezcal. You do have a great nose on this. You do not mistake the mezcal portion of this. It doesn't get hidden by the smokiness, but I want something just a little bit more smoky. And I'm going to try today some Casamigos mezcal. More smoky. Yeah, more smoky, more toasted, more caramelized. So let's give this a shot. This time I'm going to use half of an orange wheel. We're going to slide that guy inside there. Okay, we're still going to go with 2 parts or 60 mils. So let's throw one in there right away. Okay. And we'll give it I think it's bent. It has to be bent. I've never really had a problem with a shaker before. That is magical. So now what we've done is we've added just that little bit of orange and that little bit of orange pulp. And it's kind of macerated in there, really nice. It's, oh, the smokiness from that mezcal, but now you're adding a little layer of citrus to it. Just that little bit of orange. We're still missing one, so let's go back in for our second of smoky mezcal. 30 ounces, maybe just a little shy. So what would it be, like 28 maybe? 28 mil? Of 30 mil. Give this guy a really quick stir in the glass. Remember, we've already diluted. Grab our strainer, and away we go. Now, beautiful color. Again, nice, dark, deep red. A little burgundy, if you will. Orange. And we'll let that hang inside the glass. Now, very interesting on the nose. Oh my God, that's really great. Such a nice departure. Needs to be colder, but that's okay. Now, we've got that mezcal coming through. Really, just kind of like the gin. It's there, it's playing its note, you're hearing it, you're feeling it. Yes, let's screw it up. I'm gonna put 2 dashes of orange bitters there. Just give it a slight swirl where I spill it all over the place. As always, I'm a sloppy drunk. We've lost a little bit of that tequila forwards note, and we're getting that orange back. There it is. I can't tell you how nice that just that 2 little shots, that 2 little dashes. Let's screw it up again, because after all, what's life without a little bit of adventure? Ah, now you're catching clove, cinnamon, tequila. Ooh, yep, there it is. I think it's going to play really nice with the smoky mezcal. That's finished right there. So we'd have to come up with a name for this. Maybe it's the Spanish number 2. Maybe it's the Mexican number 2. Maybe it's the smoky number 2. I gotta tell you, this is really nice. You guys are gonna love it. Oh, hey, by the way, if you're not already, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We've always got some really great photos. Behind the scenes, in the lounge. Yeah, just a lot of great footage. A lot of great information too. And that's also where we're gonna be dropping our limited edition t-shirts and stickers. There's some hats coming too. Shh, don't tell anyone. So there it is. There's the number 2 and the smoky number 2. I can't tell you which one I love the most. I think I'm just gonna drink them both. Yeah, I'll see you later. The slightly, slightly